Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our virtual session. I'm delighted to be here today with my co-panelists, Professor Shifu Chang, Heng Ji, and Kaiwei Chang. We're going to discuss the current state of conversational AI and natural language understanding, um, some of the interesting problems that my colleagues are working on here at Amazon will be the topic of our discussion as well. We'll start with a quick panel discussion and then move on to Q&A, where we'll take questions from the audience. Shifu, Heng, and Kaiwei are all part of the Amazon Scholars and Visiting Academics programs. Um, these programs allow university faculty to come work part-time or full-time at Amazon. They can work on hard real-world problems. They can see the impact of their work on customer-facing products, etc. These programs are just part of our portfolio of academic programs. Of course, we bring in graduate students for internships year-round. There's also the Amazon Research Awards program, under which we provide funding for university researchers to do research projects at the university with their PhD graduate students, postdocs, etc. There's also the Alexa Prize, which is near and dear to my heart. The Alexa Prize is our flagship competition program through which we seek to accelerate advances in conversational AI with a particular emphasis on social bots. And these are university teams in the Alexa Prize competition that get to see their social bots directly interact with Alexa users. So with that as a brief introduction and context, I'll ask my co-panelists to introduce themselves. We'll start with Kaiwei.
Hi, I'm Kaiwei Zhang. So I'm an assistant professor at UCLA and visiting academic at Amazon. So I'm interested in developing fair and accountable language processing technology. I'm excited to join Amazon and work with the Alexa team on real-world problems to enhance the experience of our users through my research.
Thanks, Kaiwei. Heng?
Hi, my name is Heng Ji. I'm an Amazon scholar. I'm also a professor at computer science of UIUC. And I have been working on information integration research for a long time, since I was an undergrad student. So overall, I think the research environment in academia is more like ivory tower. We get a problem from our government sponsor. We work on very small and clean data. We deliver something for evaluation, and then we move on. So I have been always wondering whether we really have solved the problems for real-world data. So that's why I joined Amazon Scholar. And the other reason is, of course, I have been working with these great colleagues like Professor Chang, Plain, and I always admire Kaiwei and other people. So I'm really grateful to have this another opportunity to continue working with them.
And we're grateful to you for joining Amazon, Heng. Shifu?
Yes, thank you, Prem. I'm Shifu Chen, faculty member in electrical engineering and computer science at Columbia University. And sorry we cannot see everyone in person, but it's great to be on this panel. I'm also happy to be an Amazon scholar working with my colleagues here in Alexa AI organization. And also very happy to mention that recently Amazon and Columbia jointly launched a very exciting center on AI technology, and I'm very fortunate to have opportunity to serve as the inaugural director of the center. The experience at Amazon will give each of us a unique opportunity really to explore new research that's not possible in university. For example, myself in Amazon right now, working with colleagues involved in research, developing new multimodal, multi-sensory features, really can help us to enable more natural and more productive experience when users in the future interact with not only Alexa, any future generation of intelligent ambient devices, no matter you work at home or work in the office, or you transport in a car or any other setting. I would love to share more and discuss more in the panel today.
Thanks, and we're all looking forward to that. We'll actually move on to a discussion of your perspectives, bridging sort of these two twin worlds of academia and industry. I think also AI is in this sort of really interesting phase where there's exciting work in academia and there's really exciting work in industry. And this opportunity to bring it all together is something I'm sure the audience is very keen to hear about. Before we move to that, just a quick reminder to the audience, we will be taking sort of questions from you, but the easiest way might be for you to enter your questions in the chat room as this discussion progresses. And then when we get to them, we'll start taking those questions. Back to you, Shifu. You've worked for many decades in the area of multimodal and multisensory AI. In fact, we met each other as part of a government program in multimodal research. We all agree multimodality is an increasingly important aspect of conversational AI. And at the recent Devices launch event in September, our head scientist Rohit Prasad shared a demo of Alexa's new natural turn-taking capability, something with which you're very familiar. I think it would be great for the audience to hear from you about how you're applying your research at Alexa. What's unique about this opportunity? You use the word unique. What's unique about the opportunity to continue your research in this field here at Amazon?
Yeah, thank you, Prem, for bringing up this exciting topic. Yeah, I worked on this topic for several decades, but that makes me feel old. But my advisor in the past would say you have to move on. But now this topic really gets so exciting with so many new ideas and new opportunity, particularly in how do you make the whole human-agent interaction more natural, more intelligent, and multimodal, multisensory, as Prem, as you say, play a very key role here. Human interaction, even though we are on a Zoom right now, okay, human interaction uses the full spectrum of the multimodal, multisensory cue, and linguistic, audio, video, even in the surrounding context to communicate and collaborate. If we take a look at the video that's shown by Dr. Rohit Prasad in the launch event in September, and maybe we can take a look at the video now.
The ability to interact with ambient devices by just speaking the wake word Alexa and issuing your request is delightful. But that's not how we interact as human beings. Our conversations are far more free-flowing, very less structured. We often don't use each other's names, we talk over each other's, and we speak simultaneously. 2 years ago, we introduced the capability of follow-up mode that allows you to issue back-to-back requests to Alexa without using the wake word. Today, I'm excited to bring natural turn-taking that enables customers to interact with Alexa at their own pace without using the wake word on every turn, and even multiple people can join the conversation. I can speak to you about this for hours, but let me just show it to you because it's much simpler to understand the concept.
I'm getting hungry. How do you feel about ordering pizza tonight?
I could definitely go for some pizza.
Awesome. Alexa, join our conversation.
Okay, let's talk.
I want to order a thin crust specialty pizza from Mike's Pizza.
Today Mike's Pizza has the following specialty pizzas: 3 Cheese Delight, Meat Lovers, Veggie Supreme,
That one.
Pepperoni Party. Okay, what size?
Medium.
Okay, so I have a medium, thin crust Veggie Supreme.
Do you think a medium's
Anything
gonna be
else?
enough?
I'm hungry.
I'm starving.
Change that to a large pizza.
Okay, so I have a large, thin crust Veggie Supreme for $18.75. Would you like to place the order?
Yes.
Okay, completing your purchase with Amazon Pay. You'll receive an email confirmation
You
from
want to watch
Mike's
a movie
Pizza.
while we wait?
That sounds good. Let's see what's playing. What movie do you recommend?
How about The Goldfinch starring Oaks Fegley?
Who directs it?
The Goldfinch is directed by John Crowley.
What do you think?
Is it a good movie?
The Goldfinch has a rating of 6.3 on IMDb, based on 14,000 votes.
Play the trailer.
Playing the trailer now.
As you saw, to enable this experience, we had to solve several challenges. When people are talking, are they talking to each other, or is the conversation directed towards Alexa? And if it is directed towards Alexa, who should Alexa respond to? This required real invention in multisensory artificial intelligence that goes far beyond natural language understanding. Alexa uses acoustic, linguistic, and even visual cues to determine whether the request is directed towards her. Once she determines that it's indeed a request directed at her, she uses the entire conversational context to decide what's the best response or what's the best action to take. Natural turn-taking is a major step forward for enabling customers to interact with Alexa at their own pace. What I showed you today are exciting advances in the field of artificial intelligence, and they make Alexa more natural, more conversational, and more useful for our customers in their daily lives.
Okay, so in this video, you can see that maybe you feel there's nothing unusual. It's so normal. And that's the point, right? The human interaction is so natural. And not only we understand what is the semantic content being communicated, and we understand how the conversation is going on, right? Who is directing the conversation to whom, and when and how we should respond to the conversation. When is our turn? And if you feel necessary to interrupt, you know when and how to interrupt using multimodal cue. And we do this in a very natural way without a very rigid turn control mechanism. That's usually what you see in today's solution. And very important, we use multimodal, multisensory cue. So this opportunity work with my colleague here and many other scientists, engineers in Amazon, really truly exciting, right? You can really combine what we do in academia and then put it in a real world setting and apply to this customer needs, customer obsessed, science-driven approach. Really excited. I'm very happy to have opportunity to explore this.
Yeah, thanks for that, Shifu. I have one more for you, actually. One of the recent initiatives that I'm super excited about is the recently launched research center in New York that we worked on together, a joint effort between Columbia Engineering School and Amazon. You're closely involved in that initiative. As you know, we've committed to providing the center $5 million over the next 5 years from Amazon to support research, education, and outreach programs at Columbia. We call it the Columbia Center for AI Technology, right? And this center is a very important example of Amazon's commitment to partnering with academia long-term on fundamental research problems, addressing the hardest challenges in AI, ultimately with a goal to democratize access to the benefits of AI innovations, right? What are your hopes and ambitions for the center, Shifu? I'm sure students and faculty here are super curious to learn about that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. It's really dear to my heart too. And we have all devoted our effort to not only scientific innovation, but also how to make our effort has the highest impact. And combining the effort from academia, industry, and community is really the right way to do it. And thank you, Prem, and for your leadership and partnership throughout this effort. Would not have been possible without your leadership and many efforts from the friends from both sides. This new center represents my personal opinion, represent a perfect model for university industry collaboration. It supports convergent projects. That by convergent project, I mean combine fundamental research in academia, as well as, I repeat again, customer obsessed science project in industry, particularly in Amazon here, to improve the real user experience. And for example, you provide support for collaborative research project between academia and Amazon researchers, as well as the early stage fundamental research study from academia. We'll support research for talent development with a 2-year PhD fellowship support. And very importantly, translate the knowledge and result into the community, into the society by open source distribution, by community programs, symposium open to the public. And to me, also feel very proud that New York City area, like many other regions, my colleague here may complain, I've highlighted New York City, but it's one of the areas that is rapidly growing and developing an ecosystem that's really key and important for artificial intelligence, including university, entrepreneurs, industry, as well as a government agency. And I think creation of this center is very critical and very timely to help us to contribute to further success of this ecosystem.
Yeah, and we're delighted to partner with you all, Shifu, on this thing. Thank you. Heng, to you, for as long as I've known you, and it's a long time, you've sort of slowly but steadily expanded your technical scope of work, but there has still been this long-standing thread of information and entity extraction that has sort of tied your work together over the years. You've sort of expanded into multilinguality and multimodality and things like that. So can you sort of share your experience and like what brought you to Amazon? What's been unique over the close to about 7-8 months that you've been at Amazon in terms of the work you've done? What are you most excited about to be engaged in at Amazon?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so this is my first project on making entity resolution and recommendation more personalized, basically. So I want Alexa to be our best friend rather than just assistant. So based on my recent collaboration with Alexa's entity resolution team, we have been really developing a very novel framework for personalized entity resolution recommendation. So honestly, before I joined Amazon, I tend to think that anti-linking is solved the problem, because if we link any entity from news to Wikipedia, we can get more than 90% accuracy. So after I joined Amazon, I started to realize the scale and the complexity of this industrial applications really present lots of unique new challenges. So let me talk about maybe a couple of them. So the first one is what we usually call as a tail problem. So in academic world, we always seen those important and popular entities in news, politicians. So you already know a lot of them, and you know about their properties, and there are a lot of information in Wikipedia articles. So in the industry applications, for example, in Alexa conversations, people are talking about new and emerging entities. You know nothing about them, and you know very little about new users. So how can we handle this kind of tail entities effectively? We'll need to aggregate a lot of content. So we need to look at users' interest. We learn their implicit properties, entities, and put them together into a heterogeneous graph. And then we can infer what they are interested in the future. So recently, we have developed a very novel framework that will connect user and entities, and then we can perform link prediction so that we actually know what is behind the existing very scarce entity knowledge base. We have also dramatically expanded the entity ontology. From academic world, we care about the people, organization, location, but now we actually expand that to much larger scale, tens of thousands in Alexa's specific hierarchy. And then we are very excited to discover this kind of attributes using multimedia features. And then the other challenge I feel really, really interesting is the cross-genre transfer, because we usually work on very clean news data, but in Alexa, we have the data coming from speech recognition, a lot of noise. So how can we handle this kind of noise, make our system more robust? That will require a lot of joint modeling of ASR and anti-resolution to joint inference. And also, I'm really excited about the cross-lingual transfer part. So because that's my academic project I've working on many years, how can we make English technology working for other low resource languages? So Amazon Alexa actually offers a very unique environment because many users, they have their own preferred languages. So our goal here is to be able to identify information from all the digital data in 300 languages and aggregate them together in a way that they can speak their own favorite languages. They can ask questions, they can initiate conversations, and Alexa can also return results from other languages. So currently, if you look at the most successful multilingual embedding methods in academic, we normally can reach up to, say, 76% F-score for entity ingestion. This is still much lower than English. And to be able to make this kind of techniques useful for a commercialized world, we'll need to incorporate all kinds of novel ideas to automatically collect the noise data and then do cross-lingual transfer in a much low-cost way. So, and then finally, the other exciting challenge I identified only after I joined Amazon is this thing called localized entity recommendation. For example, if I ask her about a cat, Alexa needs to figure out I'm talking about my real cat, the animal, or a cat toy sitting in my bedroom. So this kind of query will need Alexa to be able to localize entities in the user's environment, and then we can generate a description about these entities and then illustrate the features using multimedia attributes. So all of these will make the Alexa much more proactive and engaging in a way that also can explain the recommendation to the users. So right now we are trying to expand our framework so that it can handle multilingual environment and make the conversation more engaging. And we also have, work a lot on multilingual environment. So we are trying to make that more effective gradually one by one so that it will be much more interesting to a diverse group of users. Yeah.
Thanks, Heng. You were talking about the performance of this multilingual stuff on open source data. And you were saying that the state of the art for cross-lingual, even on open source data, is too low. And as you pointed out, commercial applications, the challenges can be even greater. So a lot of work that needs to be done there in making this useful. But it's a very exciting area of work because it basically puts the whole world within reach of the whole world. Which sort of is an exciting thing that drives us. Kai, I'm going to turn to you and a topic that I know that you care a lot about, and it's one that I also care about, fairness in AI. It's become a topic of popular conversation, both among in academia, in industry, and even in like society in general. And at Amazon, we believe that academia has a crucial role to play in this area by bringing in diverse perspectives and multiple disciplines into the conversation, different equities into the conversation. To that end, we launched early last year this $20 million collaboration or partnership with NSF to award grants to academic research projects focus on fairness in AI. At the end of last year, early this year, NSF had selected the first 10 recipients of the grants. We funded them. That work is underway. We've also launched a Fairness in AI track in the Amazon Research Awards program. So coming back to your focus in fairness in AI, you've broken new ground in fairness in natural language processing. I mean, you've helped define that problem space in many ways. Tell us a little bit more about sort of your work in this area and what you see as sort of the key challenges and exciting opportunities in this area in general.
Sure. Yeah, so natural language processing and artificial intelligence application are everywhere in our life now, right? So despite recent NLP progress revolutionized the field, and also data-driven model achieve remarkable performance in many applications. So they run the risk to discover and exploit social bias present in the underlying data that they are training on. So for example, in our recent work, we analyzed the bias in language generation model. We define regard as a general social perception toward a specific demographic group, and find that a natural language generation model reflects the general social perception of a different demographic group differently. So as AI systems are increasingly integrated into people's daily lives and directly interact with the end user, the system have a significant social impact. So for example, users of this system may unknowingly receive biased information. So this may further enhance their skewed perception and stereotype for certain populations. And users from the minority group are more likely to be offended by or encounter obstacle of using these systems and substantially lose their trust and stop using these systems. So fairness in NLP is essential as it allows the NLP technology to benefit everyone. And early in 2018, NSF announced a letter to promote research of fairness, ethics, accountability, and transparency for artificial intelligence. As these topics align pretty well with the NSF mission. So as Prim mentioned, Amazon is sponsored an NSF program on promoting fairness in artificial intelligence. And in general, fairness and ethics has been also recognized as a key sub-area in recent major conferences like AAAI and ACL. So at Amazon, I'm collaborating with a team led by Rahul to find a way to detect bias in the natural language processing system in order to enhance the experience of all users through ensuring fairness and robustness in this language processing technique.
Yeah, I like the observation that, given how we approach products, customers are central to our mental model of the world, and customer trust takes priority over everything else in what we do. Thanks, Kawei, for that. And thanks, in fact, to all three of you for sharing your insights, your observations. Of course, we have to leave some time for Q&A. So we'll do like one more last question to all three of you. We are less than a decade into the deep learning revolution, right? I mean, 2011 is the date that we all usually like to cite as sort of the starting year. The pace of progress has been tremendous. The volume of research has been phenomenal. So given all that, do you all feel these are still early days? Or do you feel we have tapped most of the potential of deep learning? And where do you see the field of conversational AI headed next? We'll start with Heng.
Sure, yeah. Well, I cannot estimate the age of where deep learning is. I think people have different opinions. But I think for us, in the future, for this particular project, I really want to make conversational AI more personalized in a more intelligent and knowledgeable way. So when I say I want Alexa to be my best friend, I'm really serious about that. Maybe, even better than my own bestie. Because, best friends, human friends will grow apart. But I think Alexa can grow together with us. So, for example, for anti-recommendation, we want to make the system more explainable. And because only if you can explain the recommendation, you can make it more convincing. And we also want to make the representation more knowledge aware so that the generated conversation can be more proactive and knowledge driven so that, it will be more convincing and more engaging. I'm also interested in building a much more effective multilingual multimedia news recommender so that you can actually summarize the information about the most important events happening in the whole world. And this kind of summary should be personalized for the user at the same time with all the misinformation removed. So that will be my dream goal in the future.
Awesome. Kaiwei?
Yeah, and for me, human communication rely on social norms and common sense. So recent progress in deep learning has revolutionized conversational AI in many aspects. However, to bring the conversational AI to the next level, I believe we need to equip the machine to understand the social norms and interact with a human properly. So more importantly, as a conversational AI, nowadays I interact with end users. I believe we need to ensure the accountability of the system and ensure it works for everyone.
Interesting. Shifu will give you the last word in this opening session.
Sure. Thank you. Now I would love to go to the Q&A session and listen to our audience. No, I think on this, the future of AI is really fascinating, right? And Hen say about the knowledge incorporation, and then Kaiwei mentioned about the social norm. That's our aspiration, right? So how do we incorporate knowledge into the model, into the prediction? So, and then how do we teach the AI model to really observe the human social norm? So on the knowledge part, I think that's very important. I have been working on and also following the footsteps Hen and other people has been pioneering in NLP and text. How do we incorporate structured knowledge from different domains, different sources into the process of an AI model, including extraction, understanding, generation, dialogue, recommendation. And incorporation of this structural knowledge have not really been possible so far. We have seen a lot of a prediction model or correlation model, but incorporation of the structured symbolic knowledge into the deep learning is fascinating. And it will allow us to explain how the model works, right? If you make a decision, make a prediction, why is that so? It's not just based on a score optimization. And how do we discover common sense that Kai Wei mentioned, right? So common sense, you can refer to physical common sense, causal common sense, or even temporal and many other allow you to do reasoning. So how do we discover that and use that in the deep learning model help us to reason? Besides this, the other dimension I feel very excited about is this self-learning and generalization. So people start to talk about AI or AGI or generalizable AI, right? And so today's AI is based on large label data, supervised learning, you learn pattern correlation. But we see some exciting progress within Amazon and also in the scientific community. Self-learning with generalization capability, it seems to be on the horizon that's very exciting and we can try to pursue, particularly in the conversational AI area, which involve real-time interactivity with human in the loop. And that human in the loop real-time interaction plus generalization is really exciting. I'm not sure how long it will take us to solve. Hopefully not another 1 or 2 decades, and we can make a concrete milestone and progress. And that's why I really enjoy this direction working with many of you, and hopefully we can have more discussion with the audience.
Oh yeah, exciting conversation as always with all of you. On the self-learning stuff, Shifa, I was thinking in the same September Devices event where we showed the natural turn-taking demo, we also showed this teachable Alexa demo where users can directly teach Alexa some new concepts, etc., to enhance words, make her more personal, like be able to understand them. I'm excited, as I'm sure all of you are, to be part of the AI community. Charles West, the former director of the NAE, National Academy of Engineering, had once said, it's an unprecedented time of opportunity to be in the field of engineering. I feel I can borrow that phrase from him and say it's an unprecedented time of opportunity to be in the field of AI within the field of engineering. But now on to Q&A, and let's see what questions we're getting.